beforehand sang the lead vocal, because if she was just playing to the regular track, she wouldn't get up there and kick it, you know, really hit it hard. So we'd put the dirty guitar on first, and that would kick her in the ass, and the chorus would come, and my big guitar would come in. Then she'd fucking start screaming, and that's what made those vocals so great. The big fat guitar sound.
All right, so far so good.
Got a few adjectives to describe the feel of the neck to you compared to those other guitars. I know sometimes you pick up the guitar and the neck just feels right. And I'm just wondering what some of your experience.
Fender and a Gibson.
All right, well, let's answer one question at a time. He's asking about neck shape.
Well, that's a very subjective deal, and I find, you know, I like thin necks when I'm sitting around playing at home, but when I get on stage, it really doesn't factor in that much. And sometimes a nice big fat neck gives you a little more sustain through the headstock, and it just gives a nice big tone. And when I'm on stage, I'm not sitting there going, "Oh, this is kind of chunky feeling." You know, you don't feel that. You're playing it, it's loud, and it's like this big exciting deal. And so I think that's just a matter of personal preference, comfort to your hand. You know, thin necks feel really good, but get more fatigue in your thumb sometimes. So sometimes a little bit more chunky neck. I was telling Paul, I thought the neck, his new neck shape on this guitar, it's just about perfect. It's not chunky, but it's not skinny. It's right in the middle, and it's this beautiful carve that just is comfortable anywhere on the neck. And I was trying all kinds of different difficult pieces on it, and nowhere did it hang up my thumb, or, you know, just makes it so easy to play. And the action is just, I think it's just perfect. I think it's the best guitars he's ever made, these recent ones.
What's interesting is that we took that neck shape and we've modeled it for a new line of guitars at some point. So.
Yeah, it's fantastic shape.
By the way, our 25th anniversary guitars have really nice necks on them. If I hand you one, I've never picked this guitar up, right? But this is a wide, thin neck.
That's got the thin neck. I like that.
Do you like a thin neck?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so put your hands around that and see if it's okay.
That red one has a nice neck too. That one there, with the lease binding.
That's Jackson binding, mind you.
It's a different feeling than my custom 24.
Oh yeah, I'm just right off the bat. It feels good in my hands.
And you were asking a question about scale lengths. All right, look. A scale length is the distance between the nut and the bridge on the high E string. Okay. Basically, a Strat is 25.5 inches. A Les Paul is 24 9/16. Okay, a teeny bit longer than 24.5. Howard's guitar is 24.5. We do a lot of 25-inch scales, which are in the middle, and we also make 5/13, which are 25.25. And we just started playing around with a guitar called a 305, which is 25.5. Now, if you capo the guitar at the first fret and retune it, it's not going to feel that much different. And you just cut 1.5 inches off it. Most people don't realize a Mustang was a 24-inch guitar, and Ted Nugent was playing a 23.5-inch guitar when he was playing a Birdland, okay? And that guitar was done so that you could take and stretch to those jazz chords. For it was Hank Garland and Billy Bird, right? I mean, they shared a model. So, you know, there's a lot of guys out there that tune to E flat with a Strat, and it's not because the singer can't hit the notes. It's because the guitar feels a little bit too tight with 11s or 10s tuned to high E, and they wanted it to be a little looser, right? So, go figure. Once again, somebody asked who asked the question, what you should trust when you're picking up a guitar? You should trust your experience. So, whatever talks to you. I mean, somebody's going to buy that Les Paul if we walk out of here. I'm not going to sell any PRSs, so I may have shot myself in the head tonight. But other than that, you know, I can tell you that when we played at the Vintage Guitar Show, was anybody at the Dallas Vintage Guitar Show? Nobody's there? That guitar, loud through the PA, with everything up all the way. It sounded real good. It sounded big. It didn't sound thin at all, and all the notes were just as clear as a bell. The problem is most PAs, and how you got to see that, right? I mean, it just isn't going to make any difference at all. So somebody else had a question?
So speaking of necks, so can you talk a little bit about your decision to use all rosewood necks and how that affects the tone?
Okay, the strength of something obviously goes up with the strength of the wood, right? Also, the strength of something goes up by the cube of its length. So it's a little longer, it's way weaker. It also goes up by the square of how thick it is. So a thicker neck is going to be a lot stronger than a thin neck. Can you imagine if the neck is this long and it was paper thin, that it would not, the guitar would sound thin? If the neck was really short and big, it might have a big sound. It really does translate. So, I don't know if I just answered your question.
My question
Just
was
got lost.
my question was about your decision to make some guitars with like the modern Eagles with all rosewood.
Yeah, I
neck.
did it for the strength of the wood and for the resonance of the wood. Look, a really weak piece of balsa wood and a piece. In order to really show you the difference, you got to exaggerate. So you got a balsa wood neck and a rosewood neck. Which one's going to sound better, right? So, not that mahogany is balsa wood, it's not. But rosewood necks have a beautiful clarity to them that I really like, and they sustain real nice. And as the resins get harder and harder, they sustain better. And it works. The original rosewood neck that I made on a McCarty, everybody told me it was going to sound bright and trebly and run away, and what a bad idea. And I plugged the guitar in when it was done after pushing everybody away because they were just telling me to shut up. I went, oh my God, this guitar sounds good. And that was the original yellow guitar that I took around with me forever. At this point, Carlos Santana owns that guitar. He nicked it off me.
That was Ted Nugent's prototype?
No, it wasn't. Look, I made a mistake once. I was standing on the stage at RFK Stadium, and the Edge asked me for my guitar. And I said, I'll make you another one. It's my guitar. It was Dragon 1, Proto 1, and it was my guitar. Biggest mistake of my entire career. I should have given him the guitar. It was the Edge. I mean, how stupid. I mean, he was playing... that guitar through his rig sounded perfect. And when he got its brother, it didn't sound perfect. So, I think rosewood has a beautiful sound to it. And
I like
you
the way
have
it
you have
feels.
a rosewood neck on the
Yeah.
new guitar that I made you,
Well,
right?
my Dragon
Yeah.
202 has a rosewood neck, and no, the one I have like that has a finished rosewood
Has a
neck.
finished rosewood.
So I like the raw wood ones too, because the oil in your hand, you're kind of polishing it as you play it. And when you play it long enough, it's almost like it has a hand rub oil finish on it. It's all your oil.
Most rock stars that you see play don't play ebony fretboard guitars, they play rosewood neck guitars. And I don't think they're doing it for the way it looks. I think they're doing it for their experience when they're playing. It makes a difference. The wood that all those frets are touching and how it vibrates through the guitar, it makes a difference. We've actually, hang on a second, we've actually had a recent experience though where we figured out a way to bake ebony so it sounds like rosewood. And we've just made some guitars that, with maple necks and ebony fretboards that sound like rosewood guitars. And I'm like, oh, I like that.
I think ebony feels good.
Yes, I mean, you know, yeah, you had a question?
No, I was just going to say, the Custom 24 I have, you saw it has the rosewood neck on it.
Yeah.
And I love it. And everyone who's played it just goes nuts over it. People have offered to pay me lots of money for it. And I said, hey, you know, it's my guitar. I'm not selling it, you know, sorry. And it's definitely something that
I
everyone
said that to the Edge. It was a big mistake.
It's my guitar.
You can't have it.
You
You know what I realized? I'm in a different position you are. I can make another one. They can't, right? So if Howard fell in love with the guitar that I had, it would end up with him because I can make another one. But he's not in that position. Although he does have Howard Lee's guitars, and he's not promoting them today.
Or any day, really.
Well, they're on the record.
Yeah, yeah.
They're on the CD. Yeah.
You spoke.
Go ahead, hang on a minute. Don't sell the guitar.
No, don't sell it.
Good. Don't sell the guitar. Yeah.
So you talked about how carefully dried your wood is,
Uh-huh.
and how that's different than some other manufacturers.
I didn't say how they did it. I said how we did it. Did I imply that they don't? No, I didn't say that. I got to look. These are my friends. I don't want to put anybody down, but I do want to tell you what we are doing. Right? It's important. Yeah.
So I'm curious if you.